you hear me? Hold on. Let me see. I lost my audio.
Sorry, I can hear you. I heard the crackling when you came on before I realized it was you and thought that that was my microphone on. Because I just started Facebook at the same time.
I know we don't actually start till 5:15, but you know, I've had issues with my computer.
Exactly.
And so I just wanted to make sure that if I couldn't get to the meeting, I would be able to go and get my tablet or something. It's so odd to me because most people's Zoom meetings are, you know, their squares are all exactly the same size, but for some very bizarre reason, mine are not. But it works, and so don't worry about me. You go to work. I'm going to.
Okay. And Kara has got this streamlined so that we are now, with just pushing the button, we're now live on Facebook and YouTube. So to all our viewers who might be out there, we're not really going to be starting for another 15 minutes. So
right, and I see Cynthia, Cindy is popping up, but she hasn't come in yet.
There she is.
Oh, there she is. Hi.
Hi, Cindy.
Oh, unmute.
Better?
Yes.
Much.
Cindy,
Yes.
Jonah and I were talking on last Wednesday about the fact that we have not, you know, I have not gotten in touch with you to take you through sort of a tour of the library, such as it is right now, and to talk about the board and everything. I apologize for that.
That's all right. Your plate is very full.
It's
and there's a pandemic.
Yeah. You can't really come in anyway, so.
So I understand, and I can wait until it's a convenient time for you. And
well, we can certainly have a Zoom meeting about the, you know, the duties of the board members, responsibilities of the library director, that sort of thing.
okay, that would be great. Whatever is convenient for you. I have a flexible schedule.
So Patrick, did the county close the library totally?
No, they're doing curbside as well. I think there's a couple branches that are closed completely, from what I've heard.
I talked to a guy earlier that I work with. He's in IT, so he's working out of the office, and his wife works for Fontbonne College. And she got a notice from the state. I think he said the state. It might have been the county, that she will be scheduled for her COVID vaccines in February. Because they've apparently done it, they've apparently done it by tiers, and first responders and you know, physicians, nurses, doctors, those guys are coming up first, but apparently schools and the people that work for schools are coming up in what they're calling tier 2.
Oh, that's good news.
And according to him, because she works for Fontbonne College, she should be available to get her vaccines in February.
That's great.
So there's some communication coming out from, my apologies, because I can't remember if he said it was the state or he said it was the county. Fontbonne would technically be in the county, on how they're going to roll these vaccines out. But you haven't heard anything on your side?
I have not, no. In fact, we had, you know, the Missouri Public Library Directors meeting last Friday. Didn't come up at all. So.
Well, I think that from what I saw in the news earlier, I think that the FDA is going to approve the vaccine today. And then from that point, I guess it just depends on how they determine who's in those tiers, and then how those people get their vaccines. You have to get 2. Apparently, what they do is they vaccinate you and then you get a fever.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah, and
think what they're doing.
the city's meeting yesterday, yesterday they were talking about making sure that, the police and the fire stagger their vaccination time so that they have sufficient coverage at all times.
Yeah, because apparently they give you a very small dose of the vaccine, not enough to make you completely sick, but enough to get your body to create the antibodies. Everybody who's gotten the vaccine gets a fever, and that tells you that it's working.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Does that
And
seem
Joan,
odd?
Joan and Cindy, just want to introduce that Bill O'Bright is our practicum student. He's working on his master's
Hi.
degree.
Hi.
And if it's okay with everybody, I thought we'd move him to the front of the line for the agenda today. Have him give a presentation about his place
Yeah.
finding, Bill.
Bill, I'm sorry, what
Yeah,
was your
please.
last name again?
O'Bright. It's Obright.
Is there an apostrophe in there, Bill?
Yeah.
Oh, good, because I do keep putting an apostrophe in there.
That's what it is on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm the one who did that. So that when you said it just now, Bill, I'm like, man, that doesn't sound, or it sounds as if there could not be an apostrophe in there possibly.
So you want to move him up, Patrick, to?
I would guess right after the council liaison.
Okay. Let me make a note on my agenda so I don't lose track.
Would you prefer that I left after I finished, or?
You're welcome to stay. We're just giving you the option of
Okay.
if you have other things to do and didn't want to hang out at the meeting the whole time, be ready to go.
Hey,
Hello,
Jerry.
Gerald.
Hello.
Yeah, we don't have anything on our agenda today that is closed session that I remember, right, Patrick? We don't have a closed session
Not at all.
today.
Not at all.
So if you want to stay, you're more than welcome to stay.
That sounds good. Thanks.
And then to Jerry and to potentially all the board members, I'd like to apologize. We had apparently Microsoft had changed the way they're doing not internal but external forwarding of emails, which affected the way that we send emails to everyone on the board, and everything started bouncing back today.
Oh,
Great.
Oh.
So. So Jerry,
Gerald, how are you?
well, what bounced back? I got the original thing and all the attachments, and I just got the invoices today.
yeah, I sent you a whole bunch of invoices today because I got behind on that, and I think I didn't get most of them to you. I think a bunch of them bounced back.
That's okay.
I'll be right back.
I'll take a look at them.
Okay.
Patrick, was there anything you sent out that you think we have that we don't have?
Did everyone get the minutes? We sent
I
that
got
out.
the minutes
I got the
just about
minutes
an hour
and
ago.
Yeah,
and
that
I
was
got-
just when I sent them out. I think Bill had fixed that by then.
Okay.
And there was, I guess on the very first one you sent a while, I don't know when it was, it's like
Friday.
51 pages.
On the board packet, yeah.
Yeah, right. I started to print out thinking that I was going to print out the first page, and it started on page 51, and luckily I caught it by the
Oh, so
first
it's doing
page. I
backwards.
didn't want to do 51 pages.
But lots of detail.
Oh, there were lots of interesting graphs and things on there.
Yeah, it seemed like a good time. Helen had asked for a little bit more of the detail, and I was in a sort of an endless meeting, and I had the data up in front of me, so I just started making charts. And
Gotcha. We starting at 5:15.
yes, yeah, we are already live on Facebook and YouTube.
Terrific. I will be back in about 5 minutes then.
Great, thank you.
Okay. We lost Gerald.
He said he'd be back in about 5 minutes.
Well, it's only 5:04, and so we technically don't start till 5:15, right?
Right.
Did you get anybody that's not going to be able to attend?
Yes, Mike will not be here tonight.
Okay. Aaron will be though?
I heard from Erin that she would be, I believe Helen as well, and Edmund.
Okay. Okay, great. I just want to make sure that we're covered in case we need, so that Aaron can do a roll call for us.
And Joan, another thing to apologize for, I did not see your email response to mine about taking it to personnel and policy till too late in the game, so.
Yeah, you know what, we're all doing the absolute best we can these days in trying to get through the things we need to get through. Cindy, you have access to, and Patrick can set you up for, a library email address if you want to do that. Most of us have a library email address, and then we just have it forwarded to our personal email. And if you want him to do that, do we have one set up for Cindy yet?
It is, Bill set that up today in case you want that.
Okay.
Cindy and Bill had worked on that. And it's ready to go. And the reason we started doing that was we'd had a request from a patron who wanted to email all the board members. It pointed out quite rightly that, on the city side, that's all public information. There's in section 182 of the revised statutes of Missouri, there's one on library confidentiality, which says we cannot send out personal information or library information without written permission from the person involved. So, we went to our attorney and they agreed that we cannot give out somebody's email address without their permission. A couple of board members didn't want their personal email given out under those circumstances. So we created this forwarding system where any member of the public would be able to email you at your, czerwas@ucitylibrary.org. You would get the email unless Microsoft changes their settings again. And then, once you were no longer on the board, we would just cut that and you wouldn't have to worry about that anymore.
It sounds like a good solution to the situation.
Okay. We'll
Thank
we'll set that up to just start forwarding them. We've got it set up. Okay.
I responded to it, and you all should have the information you need.
Oh,
for
you
that.
did? You already sent that out? Great.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that way you get emails, and that email is available to the public, but you don't have to worry about your personal information being out there to this. It started, like Patrick said, all because of this one particular person. And this was the best solution that we could come up with to solve the way to give him access to everybody's emails for public information, but not a personal email. So
and yeah, again, we came up with this.
Mine forwarded to my AOL.
We came up with this solution by borrowing it from another library that had already set something up. So.
Oh, that's
Excellent.
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't care. Hello, Cindy. Hello, Kathleen. How are you guys? Good.
Good. How are you, Joan?
I'm good. So how's the running out to the curb going?
Getting my exercise.
You are.
It's on. No, it's great. It really, people are really appreciative. So
I did almost none today, and I got 4.5 miles on. So.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Really?
I've done almost, well, I think I did walk the dog this morning, so that was a mile.
Wow.
But,
wow. Yeah, I wish I had been wearing a Fitbit all this time. I don't have one because it would have been interesting to see.
Yeah, on days when I'm actually on the schedule for just a couple hours, and there's people that are doing it for 3 or 4 hours a day, sometimes more on the runner side, and I usually go 7-8 miles.
Yeah. Yeah, you think, just from the door to the car, but
Right.
somehow.
Yeah, but it's from the door to the car, and then we'll get that too. So 2
right.
steps for one thing,
It's okay.
Those are usually my fault. But
No, it just happens,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that I think that these days, I mean, I think there's got to be a lot of people who don't have tablets, or, you know, I generally now just download my books to my tablet and my audio books to my phone. So when I'm sitting at my desk working all day long, I just put audio books on my phone and I listen to my audio books. But
Yeah.
there have to be so many people who either don't like audiobooks and don't like don't like ebooks,
Mm-hmm.
that they just want their books.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I don't know what I don't know what I would do if I didn't have access to a library book.
Yeah.
It's just unthinkable to me that I couldn't read whenever I wanted to.
Yeah.
So, but there's an end in sight, hopefully, with this, potentially with this vaccine.
Yep.
Maybe. Maybe.
We're gonna think positive on that one.
Yeah.
We have more than one vaccine, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And Dorothy, can you hear us?
Uh-oh.
Hi, Dorothy.
Dorothy, did we get you?
Maybe not all the way connected yet.
Yeah.
Dorothy, are you muted? I only see UCPL. Oh, the iPad. She's using the iPad.
Right.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are.
Yay!
Hey, Dorothy.
Hey, there she is. Do you not want us to see you?
It doesn't matter. I can, yeah, my hair looks just like yours. It's the COVID-19 hairstyle.
I kept my lights dim so I could get away without putting makeup on.
Yes, I'm here.
You don't
How
have,
does
you don't
everybody
have to if you don't want to.
Hello
I
again.
do. I have to say that
Gerald.
working from home has made a huge difference in what I do with my hair and what I do with my makeup and what I do with my clothes when I get up in the morning and quote unquote go to work, which literally means I walk from the bedroom over there to the bedroom over here and log in on my computer through a thing called Citrix, and then I go to work. I love it.
There's
Hi,
Edmund. Hello, Edmund, and Helen's joining
Hi.
us.
We got everybody?
Yeah, we're about 2 minutes
Okay.
before the official start time, and we have a
All
quorum.
right. And do we have Aaron?
I haven't seen Aaron yet.
Okay.
We don't have to wear masks here, right?
Right.
No, not currently.
Yeah, at least at this point, I think at home I don't have to wear one. Ellen?
And a little feedback loop there. See if I can-
Does
Okay,
anybody know what that? There she is.
there you go.
Here I am. I'm gonna get out, get in.
Okay,
Oh, what happened?
I think she was saying she's gonna log out and log back in.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Aaron.
Aaron, are you out there?
There's Helen.
Here I am.
Hi,
Better.
Helen.
Much
Hi.
better.
How are you?
Hey, everybody. Gerald, Cindy. Oh, Cindy D.
Oh. It gets
I think we
confusing.
have everybody except for Aaron.
No, Aaron's here.
Do
Wait for
we have
everybody
Aaron?
but
Latrice, I haven't heard from Latrice.
Okay.
Mr. Clay, welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, I think we've got everybody, so I think we can call our meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. It is 5:15. And Aaron, if I'm not seeing everybody's pictures, so I apologize. But Aaron, if you could do a roll call, that would be great. We have Aaron.
Maybe
Looks like she might be frozen.
Is she muted?
Her audio is not on. You can see from the thing, her video is on, but not her audio.
Aaron, can you turn your audio on or unmute your audio? If you can hear us.
excuse me.
I guess I'll take this opportunity to remind everybody that we're live streaming on both YouTube and Facebook at this time.
Aaron, can you hear us?
Looks like she signed out. I guess she's gonna try again.
Oh, she's there, but I don't hear her. But do you want to? Would we like to ask Cindy to just go ahead and Cindy?
Yeah, Cindy, can you do a roll call? Cindy, library. Oh, and Cindy, you had a great way for us to separate you from Cindy on our board.
You can just call me Cindy D.
Cindy D it is. Can you do a roll call until we can get Aaron connected?
Sure. Edmund Acosta,
Here.
Dorothy Davis,
Here.
Aaron Ginsberg. I'll try that again in a minute.
Okay.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Here.
Mike Hart.
He's an excused absence tonight.
Okay. Latrice Johnson,
And not
Gerald Lander.
Here.
Helen Nelling
Here.
and Cindy Zerwis.
Present.
Okay. Aaron Ginsberg, can you hear us, Aaron?
I can finally hear you. I had
Here
to
she is. Hey, Aaron.
things, sorry.
It's okay.
I thought it was the lack of the bird that messed you up.
That's been messing me up too, actually.
Oh.
While he
Sorry.
passed. I'm sorry. Oh.
Oh.
Aaron, I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry about that.
I didn't know.
Okay, Cindy D, do you have everything you need then?
Yes, except the rest of us should introduce ourselves, including our
yeah.
guests.
Yeah.
Go.
So
Bill,
Bill,
Me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Brien, the practicum student.
Patrick Wall from the library.
Lynn Gallagher from the library.
Cindy Dykeman from the library.
Dorothy Davis from the library.
And Councilmember Clay.
Oh, yes. Stacy Clay from City Council.
Hi. Okay, did everybody get a chance to review the minutes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've got that
Yes.
here. I'll bring that up too.
I do have two little points. With respect to the section on long-range planning, please include that one of the tracks is sustainment. We had talked a little bit about sustainment.
The sustainability on that one. Okay.
Correct.
We'll add that in then.
And then also, the second point is that the list includes a word patronage. That's the word that we had been using, and we were referring to patrons.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for me.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as corrected.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, we'll accept the minutes. Patrick, is there any correspondence?
The Friends have been receiving a strong response to their annual membership letter. We've been putting them in our little, curbside bags and taking them out when the Friends come and get them. So they're pretty happy with the response on that. We've gotten a couple of calls from patrons, two unhappy today. One about a little incident between patrons trying to use the same space, and another person who just was unhappy with the way things are going with the pandemic and services. But then Kathleen had gotten you want to share the one you got today?
Absolutely, I do. I took a phone call from a woman who said, "Can I speak to a manager?" And I thought, oh boy. And I said, "Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to talk to you." And the woman started to choke up and have trouble speaking. She said, "I want to tell you how incredibly or unbelievably decent," that's the phrase, "unbelievably decent and kind all of your staff have been to me and my children." She said she was not a regular library user. They have been using especially curbside services since the pandemic. She just said our assistance has meant a great deal. She mentioned she named some specific staff people. Of course, I was crying too, full disclosure. So it was a wonderful phone call.
Isn't that nice to hear?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Very believable. The message was very believable, not unbelievable to us.
Good.
She is absolutely right.
Yeah. This has been a hard time for so many people, and I think the library is such a source of comfort for people to be able to get what they need. I think that's great. That's wonderful.
As a side, my wife pointed out a letter to the editor of the Post today, if anybody saw it, that basically said, so the importance of libraries, and they should keep them, they should reopen them. So they're so important to the community at this time, that the more we can keep them open, the better it is for the whole community, not just using, well, just as a place to be.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who just want to come in and, just have a place to sit. And, and we really miss being able to do that. And we look forward to a time when we can do that again. And that's it for correspondence, I think.
Okie doke. Council liaison report.
Yes, let me unmute. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Aye.
A few things for you this evening. The loop, as we know, is our effective downtown. While there's closures that we're dealing with, we do have retail opportunities still open in the loop. So I would encourage those who may be inclined to do holiday shopping to certainly know that our retail establishments at least are open, often in diminished capacity, the number of folks that can be in the space at one time, but with a mask, you should be okay. So those are open for business. Also, many of them offer online options at this point as well. So I'd encourage you to keep them in mind, even if you can't get to those businesses physically. Also, ordering out is an option for, I believe, all of our restaurants. Even though, again, there's some challenges with indoor dining and some other things, you can still order from those establishments, and we encourage you to do so. One thing that has been an issue in the community is there's been an uptick in crimes of opportunity, and those things are largely car and I don't even want to say break-ins, because rarely, if ever, is something getting broken. It's usually just someone trying the car door, and then if it's open, going inside and rummaging around, but also. We're finding crimes of opportunity related to sheds, where folks keep, lawn equipment and other things, or if just stuff is just, on the side of the house, tools or whatever. So the police have developed a.
Don't wear it in the shower, and when you put it on, make sure you hear the clap.
What was that?
I just muted someone's microphone was on.
Yeah. So the police have started a campaign to address illegal car entry, essentially. Most cars today have those remote lock and unlock devices. Do that at 9 p.m. Just kind of put that into your habit. Most are sensitive enough that they can be done from inside of the house, even if the car's in the garage or on the street. So if you just kind of hit that, listen for the chirp, you'll know that your car door is locked, because we are seeing a rash of those across University City, irrespective of ward. And again, they're only getting things that are in plain sight, but we did have a situation where someone actually left their key fob in there in the car, and so they were able to make off with the car. So there you go. In terms of securing other areas of your home, some of us may have rakes and other tools, leaf blowers, or we're leaving them out because we're using them. Recommend that you not do that, that you put them in a shed that is locked. Again, these are crimes of opportunity. People are opening shed doors. If they're trying them, if they open, they have at it. If they're not, they move on. Olive in one.
Stacy,
Yes.
I'd just like to mention that I have seen frequent posts by the UC police on Facebook reminding people about taking those steps. So the police are definitely trying to get the word out through social media.
They are, because it's becoming an issue. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. It is becoming an issue. In certain neighborhoods are more susceptible to this than others, but it is happening across University City. It's not a make or model of vehicle kind of thing. It's literally, and folks have Ring cameras who have been capturing this. Folks walking up into driveways, they're pulling doors. If it doesn't open, they move on. I mean, it's seconds. If it opens, they go in, they look for valuables, they rummage through it. You got your AirPod headphones, you got whatever, they take those out and then they move on. So they're not staying around. They're not trying to take the car unless you leave the key fob in there. Then they'll be happy to oblige. But other than that, they're just kind of rummaging. And again, the same with sheds, the same with tools and other things left out. They're just taking advantage. So one final thing I'll bring up is there's been some confusion about leaf collection. It can be challenging with leaf collection, as I've gotten on the council. We try to put out a calendar so folks are aware, but sometimes we find the leaves don't cooperate. They want to fall either earlier or much later than we had scheduled. So we try to accommodate the reality of when leaves actually fall with the predictability of a schedule, so folks know when to move them into the street. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So I think for most, for the city is broken up into 3 zones: the west, central, and east area. So for the central area, there is no more leaf collection. That has ended, and the central area is roughly bounded by north and south to Midland. That's kind of the central area, and then just east-west from the north, south end of the city to the north end of the city. And then the west end is actually this week. So the west area, which is essentially bounded by north and south to the east and 170 to the west, that's this week. So if you're hearing this, you may have already missed your time if you didn't already have it out there. And then the east area, which is essentially Midland to Skinker effectively, is December 14th through 18th. So there is another opportunity, unless you're in the central area, to get your leaves collected. And I know that's been a little bit confusing, but our public work folks are doing the best they can. And that is what I have.
Anybody have questions?
Yeah. Has there been any more movement on the development behind us, the hotel and the office building? I noticed that the for sale sign is still up in front of Harvard.
It's my understanding that there has been. Let me do this because I don't want to say something that's not true. Let me commit to doing this. I'll follow up with Patrick, and I'll get some information from the city manager that he can share with the folks here on the board, and perhaps that can be read as a correspondence in the next meeting.
That'd be great.
Great.
So I will do that.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
Yeah, my understanding is that they're moving forward. You know, they're working out agreements before they start, but that'd be great to hear the official word on that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I will do that.
Stacy, can you give us some information about the body cameras?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did approve the purchase of the body cameras. Exactly when they go into commission is escaping me now. So let me also put that as a follow-up, exactly when they're going into commission. But yeah, we did approve the purchase of those, which, you know, as you know, that came out of the Ferguson Commission, is one of the things that municipal police departments should be looking into. We've been fortunate in UCity. We don't knock on every piece of wood around me that we have not had the issues that we've seen. Man, I'm jinxing stuff, I know. Anyway, we've not had issues that other municipalities have had. So I feel good about where we are. But yes, body cameras, I think, are an added benefit and enhancement to the service that we already provide.
So they're underway now, huh? Okay,
Yep.
That's good news. Thank you.
Got any other questions for council member? No? Okay, we're gonna shift things a little bit, and in here, we're going to get our presentation by Bill O'Bright. If he wants to make his presentation to the board, we would love to hear what you have to say.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let me get my Zoom figured out in just a second.
Do you want like Kathleen to give an introduction, or
yeah, sure.
you guys been working together? We'll put her on the spot.
Yeah, so I have been very fortunate to have Bill O'Bright as a library practicum student for the fall semester. He is a graduate student getting a master's in library science at Mizzou, and so he chose to do our practicum here with us, and he's going to talk to us about a new-ish trend in librarianship called placemaking. And again, just to add the context that I think I mentioned the last time, this is something for us, I think, all to have on our radar. It does not directly pertain to the library construction project. It's something for us to be keeping in mind for the future.
Okay. There we go. Everyone see that?
Yep.
Mhm.
Great. All right. Good evening. My name is Bill O'Bright, and I am the practicum student from the University of Missouri-Columbia, working at UCPL this semester. I'd like to briefly talk about a potential opportunity for University City Public Library to expand toward, called placemaking. So what exactly is placemaking? Well, placemaking can be described as a public space which considers people and their needs before aesthetics and efficiency. To break it down a little bit more, placemate space needs to be neutral and approachable. Needs to be there so anybody who would want to use it can use it for whatever they would like to, within reason, of course. and anyone should be able to see it and understand that's what it's for to begin with. It needs to be informal and playful. So at libraries, instead of doing something like we typically do in our meeting rooms with a structured lecture, it needs to be more like feedback, mentor, mentee type of relationship if you're running an event. It needs to be comfortable. So having furniture you might see in a nice park or in a patio is definitely what you would like to focus on purchasing. It needs to reflect the local culture of your community. And most importantly, it needs to be appealing. There has to be some reason why somebody is coming to do it, whether it's for entertainment, education, improving their quality of life, or simply having a nice evening outside. There has to be a reason why they see you. So there's a number of examples you can see of this in our local communities, restaurants, bars, plazas, parks, walkways, even hair salons and cafes all make use of this nowadays. A few examples are below. We have the Moonrise Hotel bar, which recently remodeled. It now includes plants, which are good for quality of life because they have shown to improve mental health. And the furniture is much more comfortable patio-oriented furniture, which facilitates conversations and socializing with others. We also have the Ackert Walkway, which was similarly recently remodeled in New City. More greenery and artwork was placed along this walk path, so it's much more pleasant to be on now. Local community is also reflected as well with the inclusion of the Chuck Berry statue and the sort of reimagining of the archway that you see when you enter. And on the bottom right, we have a park in another place, which put a bunch of temporary furniture in. This furniture naturally has tables, chairs, shade, but the way it's designed is very informal and encourages people of different groups to socialize with one another. In addition to that, there's also a nice ping pong table as well. So anybody who wanted to play a game could theoretically pick one up. So that sounds all good and all, but how do we use that in libraries? The American Library Association has noted placemaking as an up and coming trend in libraries. And many libraries have started to incorporate these ideas into their strategic plans because they've found that libraries have very similar goals to those found in placemaking. Again, as a library, we want to improve our patrons' quality of life. We want to provide entertainment, education sources, workforce development, literacy development. All of those things can be facilitated through placemaking. And in addition to that, outdoor placemaking is unique for libraries because there aren't many events libraries can host outside of their walls. This has a side benefit of showing what activities are happening at a library to people who otherwise might not notice them. And this leads into our next, which is that because of that, non-traditional library users who might see the library as a place that only has books and not much else now can see the library as something they hadn't before. So adopting placemaking may attract more patrons to your building. And of course, because it's relevant right now, COVID has made hosting any events very difficult, or doing really any librarianship more difficult. And by having a space outside that the public can access much more easily, it makes it more adaptable. So on the right there, we have a number of pictures from the Wilton and Greg Free Memorial Library in Ohio, which incorporated placemaking into a strategic plan. And they included all of this nice furniture outside, both temporary and permanent, which patrons can use, and they host events frequently. So they said that they've had quite a good amount of success with it. And I believe UCity can similarly have that success. So what UCPL has going for it is a decent amount of space out in front of the Del Mar side of the building. It's also an extremely visible space, so any activities held there would be seen up Del Mar. Bare minimum, I think it would be a good idea to have a few tables and chairs and shade out front, just to give people something easily visible they can see, otherwise they wouldn't consider, as well as including a sign that might be visualized from any angle up Del Mar, because as it currently is, it's a little bit difficult to see the one as it's hung. There's also the backside entrance of the building. So this is in the parking lot, which is a little bit more quiet and private. So this summer, the staff found that a number of patrons were coming to the parking lot and camping out just so they could use internet. And they would literally stay there in their own furniture and use the internet on their phones and such. So a temporary tent was set up along with a table and chair and a couple of chairs just to help them a little bit. And it was found that people used it all the time. They liked it a lot. So that's a good example of how something like this could succeed in this area by expanding into a more permanent furniture set with shade, benches, tables, chairs. Patrons could come in and much more easily use your internet or do whatever they would like at their leisure. Off the west side of the building is also a reading garden. By including some pavement, getting some carts which have folding tables on them, and maybe even putting in a permanent stage fixture, you could host all sorts of events over there. It's nice and quiet, the road isn't nearby, and it's a private, pleasant space. So you could have anything from live music to learning how to garden, to painting class, to improv could be hosted over there outside. So just going over a few other products that UCity could offer as part of placemaking. One of them is park accessories. So naturally I've said tables, chairs, shade, etc. You could go a step further with that. In this picture, we have a table with a chessboard painted on it. If you were to have those on your tables outside, you could even have the library check out sets of chess or checkers to patrons who might just be willing to play an impromptu game of it. A bike repair station is also a good option. UCity Public Library has a bus station on its premises, and a couple blocks to the east, the Centennial Greenway pedestrian path is accessed. And there is the nearby Washington University, which has many bikers. So anybody who would be willing to switch between their commute or get on the Greenway or go to and from the college might be interested in giving their bike a tune-up just while they're there. And this is another great way, as we said, to attract non-traditional users to the library. The sign, which I've mentioned before, I'm not really going to go into the details because that would be something that would be great to have a professional designer do. I personally would love to see something like the Tivoli sign, but that may not happen. So we'll see where it lands. Outdoor internet and phone chargers. So the building already has great internet access outside. If you needed even more, you could simply turn your access points towards a window and it would work excellently. As far as phone chargers go, there are solar panel models you can get, both permanent and temporary. Permanent ones you can set up as sort of like a pillar, so folks could come, charge their phones, and use the internet for as long as they wanted. Or you could make use of the library services again and get some relatively inexpensive, I think $25 ones, which they can check out and then charge as they sit there. And this, I think, is also a great idea because it's something that many of the other businesses and cafes along Del Mar do not offer that would be unique to the library. And finally, we have a community mural on the southwest corner of the building grounds. So that would find itself in the western entrance to the Del Mar Loop, as well as the Sergeant Mike King Drive. Anybody coming into the Del Mar Loop from the west or visiting City Hall or coming anywhere in your building or in your community would see this mural prominently displayed. It would be very visible for your building, and it would be a great community exercise as well because you can form a community designing group that would design and paint this themselves. So that would be a great way to show the culture of your local community and support the library. So all of this sounds well and good, but how are we going to pay for it? That's the big question, I guess.
That was going to be my next question. Sorry.
Yeah, so let's dive into that. Naturally, there is not a whole lot of funding for park supplies for libraries, but I was able to locate some. The Missouri State Library has a grant program called the LSTA, which funds nearly anything related to technology, children's literacy, and workforce development. They run these all year, several times a year, so they're fairly available. The Missouri Department of Economic Development provides funding to the county, which then can provide funding to University City, which you can apply for. And these funds are typically for infrastructure upgrades and improvements. So theoretically, you could apply for this and possibly get paving, lighting, construction, outdoor cameras, the bike repair station, furniture and gardens paid for. There's also local nonprofit community services like the Divided City, which funds diversity-oriented humanities programs and murals. Both of those things we've talked about. The Great Rivers Greenway, which is the possibly nonprofit, which manages and builds the Centennial Greenway along with many others. They may be interested in funding the bike repair station as the library is so close to the Greenway itself. And we have Washington University's Government and Community Relations Department, which has provided fund and support for the UCPL community in the past. WashU also may provide support in the way of having volunteers come out and be mentors to patrons for certain events, if you were to connect with some of the local colleges there. So that's what I have to say about placemaking. I think that it would be something definitely worth looking into. Do you have any questions?
Edmund, I see you
Yes,
shaking
please.
your head.
Working backwards, the last thing you mentioned is Government and Community Relations Department from WashU funding. Is that still underway? Because I had the impression that most of their money was supposed to be delivered last year or this last semester.
As far as the details of when the funding is on that one, I couldn't really find much. Their site still does host it and still does have it mentioned on the site. So I would assume to some degree the program is still active. But yeah, admittedly, I'm a little bit more familiar with the Missouri LSTA and their programs.
Thank you. This is a good listing of places to start. And that's a terrific, and I appreciate that the contribution. And taking it back to the very first part, said to support the goals of the library. What types of goals are most supported by placemaking?
Well, it's kind of a holistic project. I think it really does a wide breadth of what you had. I took a look at UCity's missions and values statement and found among them technology, education, training, or workforce training, things like that. I think all of that could be done through having a placemaking set up. To be clear, placemaking is more of having the place available for these programs and things to make use of it. And also on a more minor scale, setting up events and ongoing organizations to continue floating it. So if you were to have, again, the local mural organization really champion that mural project themselves, that would be the ideal. Or partnering with UCity and Bloom, which I believe you're already doing, having them maybe come out and show locals how they can start a garden at home. Things like that are really like the ideal use of it. So from there, you can really justify nearly any of your values.
I remember the term maker station. Is that an example of placemaking?
To a certain degree, I think it kind of builds off of that. But yeah, I think a lot of the same ideals are there. You're encouraging folks to come out. be mentored, explore, create, adopt a new hobby, develop themselves personally. So I think a lot of that is the same. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Cindy, you've got a question?
Yes, please. Thank you, Bill. That was an interesting presentation. Do you know of any other libraries in the greater St. Louis area or throughout the state of Missouri that have already adopted this idea? And if so, how much did it cost and how is it working out for them?
I haven't found many of libraries in the St. Louis area. I know that Kirkwood Public Library is redoing or looking at redoing its outdoor space right now. But as far as locally, I have seen a little evidence of remodeling in St. Louis County libraries, but not so much focused on something like this.
I think the Prairie Commons branch, several of us went out and looked at that when they'd redone that. They had a nice garden area with a sort of an interactive thing.
When we interviewed architecture firms, one of the firms that we didn't choose, one of their main presentations was on areas just like, they wanted to redo a lot of the library, tremendous big differences in how it was going to be built. And one of the things that they were doing is setting aside areas for just what you're describing. We chose not to go with that group, but that's one of the kind of ideas that they had inside and outside the library, which I thought was interesting at the time. And this kind of idea fits very close to it.
Yeah, and to be clear, it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. I'm presenting the idea. Yeah, I'm going to leave that to you all and the citizens of U-City.
And Helen had a question as well.
Yeah. Bill, did you include anything for, kind of expanding the seasons and ways that we could use this outdoor space when it gets a little cooler, like those heaters that some restaurants use and things like that?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We actually at KPL, we've looked at that a little bit. The heaters are pretty expensive to maintain and run. I would kind of shy away from that in your plan. So if you were to go, stick more with the summer and spring and fall. Yeah, we also looked, since we're kind of on the subject, we looked at getting fans that spray, gentle or like cool water on people, like they have at amusement parks. But
Not
those
while they're reading a book.
I'm sorry.
Not while they're reading the book.
Yeah.
Helen.
Well, if we wanted to move forward with something like this, I'd like to see how we could, make it available for as much of the year as possible. And given the goofy weather we have here, there might have to be some very creative ways to do that. Like, I know some of the restaurants now are, having blankets in a basket that you can grab if you want to sit outside.
Yeah.
Wow.
Library, so you could go check outable blankets. If you were to redo the wall on the west side of the building, you might be able to have like a pullover canopy or something like that would build from the building to those, depending on what you would want to do. So yeah, I think there's a few options for doing that.
These are some very interesting ideas.
Well, thank you so much.
Anything that increases the use of the library is good. And I'm thinking about Kathleen's phone call with the woman who said, my family was not were not regular library users. And they certainly might be open to these more untraditional uses of the library.
Bill, how long are you going to be around here?
I have lived in St. Louis my whole life, pretty much. So yeah, I'll still be here.
His days at U-City sadly are numbered. So.
Oh, U-City, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Tomorrow's my
that's what
last day.
Edmund was asking. We have you as part of the library staff until when?
Thank you, Joan.
Tomorrow,
yes.
right, Bill?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow. I would like to follow up just a little bit with you. So what time in the morning can I give you a call? Can I give you a call at 9 o'clock? For a 10-minute?
Can I maybe do an email introduction? Would that work tomorrow if we do that?
Sure.
Sure.
So
All
I'll
right.
stand by and wait for an email intro.
Right.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. And
lot of
you know,
really good
those of us on the library board are obviously huge supporters of the library, and anything that we can do that brings in patrons and provides our community with access to its library, you know, that's really important to us. And I don't know that any of us have thought about looking outside the walls. So I think that was kind of interesting. It always, unfortunately, comes down to funding. But I think the staff is extremely good at applying for grants and, you know, looking at other options for paying for things. So I think that meeting with Edmund is good because he's going to do our long-range planning. He's the long-range planning chair. And that would be helpful for us to know what maybe our options are, and then maybe where we would be able to go for some kind of funding for some of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Joan. That's precisely it.
How'd I do, Edmund?
Oh, you're picking some of this up. I love it.
Well, it just took me several years, but here I am. Bill, thank you. We really appreciate that. And thank you for working with U City Library. Hopefully we will be able to tap you in the future.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Bill.
Anybody else have any questions before Bill goes away?
This isn't a question, but just a statement. You know, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and I was getting a library degree, I got it from University of Missouri, Columbia, because it was the closest ALA accredited school. If your instructor would need confirmation or feedback from any of us, I would be happy to be a person saying positive things about you as another alumni. So
Wow.
I just putting that out.
That's a great idea.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice.
So let Kathleen know if you need something from the library board.
Yep.
We would be happy to follow through with that.
Wow.
Patrick, is there anything on the librarian's report?
Well, we're set to do a consent agenda. Helen, you had asked for the like month over month from last year.
Start that over. I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of what you said.
There we go. Sorry, Helen, you had asked for some of the statistics to be compared to
Last year. I see these.
No.
Yeah.
They're
Thank
not
you.
great. We've got that, and then as I was talking to Gerald and Cindy earlier, went ahead and just did the charts, just showing some of the statistics over time.
Patrick, don't you think, I mean, some of it is obvious, you know, because but don't you think some of it too is that when the library was open all the time pre-pandemic, you went in to get one book and then you walked through the stacks and you picked up a couple more.
Sure.
And without that ability, you know, to do that, you know, if you're going to, you know, put books on hold and pick them up curbside, you're just not going to get those extra things. I'm not worried about it. I just wanted to understand the impact.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people that, are not even coming to do curbside right now.
Yeah.
I've heard from people, I know Kathleen has as well, where you'll see someone you haven't seen in a while and they'll tell you that they haven't come and done this, for this will be their first time coming for curbside because they were just staying at home completely. We do have some families that, we'll take 2 or 3 big shopping bags out every couple of days for them. With kids. But yeah, it's a much more difficult thing to do, to go through and put the books on hold. I mean, not difficult, but it's a different experience anyway.
Mhm.
And
Takes more effort.
You get browse.
funding to get, go from 50 e-magazine titles to whatever it is now, like 1,500. The shows are sort of big increase in Zinio usage. But and showing it over last year will hopefully, as the pandemic recedes, we'll get the nice upward line on a lot of those. But is there anything anyone wanted to discuss that's in the consent agenda right now?
Weird beep.
Yeah, I think just a little feedback.
Okay. If there's nothing anyone wants to discuss in the consent agenda, can we have a motion to accept it?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed to accepting the consent agenda? Okay. At this point, the only discussion item then we have is any building issues.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess I was just wondering, with architect's firm and what's been going on, is there anything we can be doing at this point?
Well, we discussed some of that. We moved the meeting to today. We're still discussing the doors. I'm going to go talk to community development and see if we can get, if we need to go to historic preservation on the doors themselves. Or can community development give us a permit, because the one door is, non-functional right now. And then move forward on that. Edmund, we talked a little bit about solar. They want to see how much capacity we can put on there, how much we would want, how much that would cost, and how much would, before we start on that, as one would expect, sometimes just getting the engineers involved and the architects and asking them questions, we end up with a bill for thousands of dollars just for the looking into it. So we want to see what that's going to cost before we get too far into that. They'll be getting us a revised estimate in the next couple of weeks. As I mentioned in the board report, Lori Everett, who had been the project manager for Bond, has left their firm, and they have not decided who's going to be the new project manager yet. We'll be meeting with Sue Prushnicki, the principal there in the interim.
Are you worried about that?
It's understandable. I mean, there's a lot of turmoil out there for architect. I hope we end up with someone good. We'll certainly keep an eye on that as we go forward.
Well, if you don't like the person they choose, I think you shouldn't hesitate to say, this isn't working as well as our relationship with Lori. Let's find somebody else.
And Lori was someone, that on all the little things we were working with Bond on for the last several years had been, in the meetings with Sue, when Sue was sort of the point person. So we were really comfortable with Lori and had worked with her a lot. But yeah, it'll be different. And then the other thing we talked about, that we could do in the interim, as we're waiting to see what the revenue collections look like and how we want to go moving forward, cleaning the exterior of the building and patching and sealing. And they'll be getting us a new proposal on that in the next couple of weeks. And we're going to start meeting again regularly with them via Zoom. And then Ty-Ol and Bradford Systems, they'll, the end of the month, they plan on beginning installation of the high density storage shelving.
So with regards to the doors and what's it called again, the Historic Preservation Society?
Commission, yeah.
Commission, okay. I mean, they will understand that the problem we have is we absolutely have to fix the doors or we're going to electrocute people, right?
Well, that's no longer a problem. We just have to manually slide it because we've removed the power from the.
Okay, well.
We've taken that option out.
The electrocution, yeah.
Yeah, it would be good. I'm disappointed. I think it would be good to have that as an option.
Helen, we're streaming live. Be mindful.
Yeah, no, we're I'm going to talk further with Sue. I am not quite sure what her concern is for historic preservation, since we've decided on the tint and and everything has been approved. I don't know that it's necessarily going to be a problem. I'll talk to community development and make sure that we can just sort of move ahead with that, or if there are more hurdles to get across.
Helen, thank you. Keep thinking outside the box.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just thinking about, you don't want to limit yourself. I do think though, Patrick, that it's regrettably the timing, if we have to have broken doors, now is probably the time to have broken doors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the timing is just not working in our favor. But we're happy that the staff is mostly come through this healthy, and I'm knocking on both Crestwood and actual wood.
Every piece of wood you can find in the office. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Patrick for the building issues?
Nope.
Okay. So moving on to action items, did everybody get a chance to read through what Patrick sent on the extension of the FFCRA benefits?
And
yes.
Here's, I spoke with our attorneys, their HR specialist, and what she had suggested is that instead of what I proposed, that we would, if the board wanted to, the motion would be to extend the benefit found in the FFCRA for all staff in a non-resetting way, but until January 31st instead of March 31st, and that the board would then, at subsequent meetings, if they so chose, extend those benefits month to month. Her thought was that should the federal government extend the benefits and extend them in such a way that existing programs were not covered, and if there were ever a possibility for libraries to be reimbursed for this, that we wouldn't want to miss out on that. In the Missouri Public Library Directors meeting last week, most libraries, everyone there who spoke on it, no one's getting reimbursed for the FFCRA things from public libraries in Missouri just because of the way the funds are being distributed. But we think it's worthwhile just to keep the,
Patrick, what does non-resetting mean?
That there wouldn't be, if you've used your 2 weeks of benefits already, you wouldn't get more. If you had used, 5 hours, you'd just have the remaining hours left. It's not a reset on the benefit, it's just an extension.
Okay.
Do we need a motion for this, or?
Yes, if the board wants to if the board's willing to extend this until January 31st, 2021, then we need just a full motion on that.
Well, I would certainly propose the motion, and we can further discuss it if we need to.
Patrick, do we need a roll call on this for acceptance of it?
I think that'd be fine. Yeah, I think that'd probably be a way to go.
You want to do a roll call? Aaron, do you want to do the roll call, or do you want to have Cindy D do the roll call?
I'm going to defer to Cindy.
Okay,
Before the roll call, let me second that motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks, Helen.
And can I read that? That is the motion then to extend the benefit found in the FFCRA for all staff at University City Public Library until January 31st, 2000.
Yes, that's what I was proposing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Edmund Acosta,
Aye.
Dorothy Davis, Dorothy,
Did we lose her?
Aye.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Yes.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Yes.
he's not here. Gerald Lander,
Yes.
Helen Nelling,
Aye.
Cindy Zerwis.
Aye.
Okay, so we'll extend those benefits until January 31st, 2021.
Thank you.
Okay, President's report is next. I have absolutely nothing for the President's report, so we're going to run through these committee reports. Is there anything for long-range planning?
Yes. We have not had any long-range planning meetings in the last month. I suggested that we delay activity from the long-range planning committee and the board until at least into the first month of January, mid-January at the very earliest. Two reasons. One, the library has plenty on its plate at the moment. So in operations, they could use that time for operations better than they could for long-range planning. And number two, in terms of creating a long-range plan, it all starts with a status quo. Where are we now? Well, it certainly looks as if we are going to, 3 months from now, be having a different status quo, or 6 months from now, we're going to be having a different starting point. So in order to have a better understanding of where we are in terms of changes, visionary changes over the 3 to 5 year period, I think we should wait until for long range planning until we have a good idea of where we are 3 or 6 months down the line.
Okay, so you're looking at maybe putting some kind of meeting together prior to the January board meeting or after the January board meeting?
During the middle of January is my first target date.
Okay, so our January board meeting is going to be on the 13th.
Oh, wow. Okay, then on the anytime after the 13th, we will start off with a long-range planning committee meeting.
Okay, so sometime after January 13th.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll put, I guess, a poll out or something, pick a day that the people that are on that committee that we can do a meeting prior, though, to the February board meeting.
And we should be able to announce a meeting date and time. Thank you, at the board meeting.
Well, and I think you're right. I think, Edmund, that I think we're going to have a much better idea of where things are in the early part of January if they really truly can roll out these vaccines, and when the things start to change. Okay.
And maybe some more meetings with Bond and others.
Right. And some more meeting. Okay. Helen, do you have anything for personnel and policy?
No, we just discussed what was on personnel and policies plate. And so we're good for now.
Okie doke. Gerald, how about budget and finance? You're
We
on
have
budget
not
and
met.
finance, right?
I didn't get a chance to go through the invoices yet, but I will. I was
Okay.
thinking that we would probably want to meet as a committee sometime after the first of the year, probably January, February, after we get the tax revenues in. We'll have
Okay.
a good idea at that point of will be for proposed budget and tweaking things around. I mean, we have a budget already, but for tweaking things around, we will know what the revenues will be in sometime in January or February. So we'll probably meet
Okay.
at that point, and I'll keep in contact with Patrick.
Great. Erin, are you the chair for building and grounds?
Yes. And,
Okay, do you have a report or anything?
No, we haven't. We have
Okay.
not yet.
Yeah, I know we're all kind of a bit on hold with everything that's going on. Okay. Any old business? No? Any new business that we have not covered, or any other questions or anything anybody wants to go over before we are adjourned?
Well, the only thing I would say is I think that Patrick and the staff have done more than yeoman's duty during this opening, closing, quarantining, unquarantining. I just think it's right now it's a never-ending struggle, and it's going to go on for the next 2, 3, 4 months. And just thank you for all the staff for all their hard work, and I just hope it eases up for everybody.
Well said. Absolutely.
Everyone here.
So I guess I need a motion to adjourn.
Joan,
Yeah.
did you want to assign Cindy to some committees?
Oh, why, yes, we do, before we go. Cindy, since we haven't had a chance to meet, I don't know what your background is. Is there something that you would prefer to be on?
I'm interested in building and grounds. I'm
Okay.
interested in buildings and grounds. Because many of you don't know me, I'll just quickly say that my background is I have a journalism degree, and I worked as a newspaper editor for 20 years. And then my family lived overseas for 7 years. And I have some different perspectives on some things. All of the committees look interesting. I'm happy to serve wherever there's a need.
How about you go with building and grounds and long range planning?
Okay.
Hello.
I have a couple of ideas for that. I just haven't sent you an email.
Hey, call me.
Okay, so let's go with Cindy D. Let's go with that for the committees. And
Okay, I'll go ahead and send out the new staff roster then.
that would be great. I would really, really appreciate that. And we already discussed with Cindy Z that about the email account that she has access to through the library. I think Patrick said that they got that set up for her today. And so she should sort of be up and running. And I guess all I have to say is everybody have a happy holiday. And we will meet again in January.
Stay safe, everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stay safe, that's right. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
Patrick, did you have anything else?
Just following up on the email thing, Cindy, we'll send you a form. As I said, we have to have signed permission to share. So we'll send you something to sign on that. Okay.
Thank
Hello,
you.
Dorothy.
A motion to adjourn.
We haven't seen you all meeting.
Hey, there you are.
Yeah, she finally made it on the visual.
Okay, so I guess we need a motion to adjourn, and then I think that Councilmember Clay told us that it would be best if we did a roll call to adjourn the meeting.
Oh.
Is that right? Am I right about that?
Yes, we do. I think we do a roll call.
Okay.
This will be a
So
first.
Cindy D, if you could do a roll call to adjourn the meeting, I'm assuming we're good to go. Do we have a motion in a second?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second it.
Okay, Cindy, hit us with a roll call.
Edmund Acosta,
Yes.
Dorothy Davis,
Yes.
Aaron Ginsberg,
Yes.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Sure.
Gerald Lander.
Yeah.
Helen Nelling,
Yes.
Cindy Zerwis.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Happy holidays. We will chat again in January
Okay.
unless something comes up between now and then. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Stay healthy. Bye-bye.
See you, Dorothy. Thanks,
Bye,
Kathleen.
Dorothy.
Good book. Good book.
Oh, what are you reading?
Oh, it's Not Without Laughter by Langston Hughes.
Oh,
We're gonna
cool. Okay.
discuss it next week in our classics book group, Tuesday at 2:00. So
No late evenings, no 7 o'clock discussions.
not for this group.
Okay.
We're the
Next
daytime
Wednesday.
group.
I know the daytime group. Okay, thanks, Kathleen.
It's a
Great
It's
read.
a short book. Short
Dorothy.
book and easy read. Good read.
7 o'clock next Wednesday, we're discussing Deacon King Kong by James McBride, if you want to join us for that.
Okay, absolutely. I'll
Hello.
sign up.
He's a
Okay.
good writer.
And welcome again, Cynthia Z. Good night, everybody.
Good
Bye,
night,
everybody. Thank you.
Next, my 7 o'clock Zoom.